Yo, YouTube, what's up with your boy, Sports and Fitness Rants? I'm back, guys. Click that like button. Subscribe to my channel. What's up, y'all? Welcome back, guys. Welcome back, man. Got another great video for you guys today, as usual, man. You guys know the deal on this channel. It's all about setting the record straight, stopping the lies, stopping the narratives, stopping them from rewriting history, man, and holding these guys to a standard. In this video, we're going to hold Stephen A. Smith to a standard because this fool Stephen A. Smith, I saw some comment from him about Kawhi Leonard. And he said that I can make a legitimate case or a legitimate argument that Kawhi Leonard is the worst superstar in any sport. The worst superstar of any sport in the history of the sports. He can make an argument that Kawhi Leonard is the worst superstar. Really, Stephen A. Smith. See, these guys, I told you, man, they love to pick and choose who they want to give the energy to. Right? He don't have none of the energy for LeBron James. Right? He don't have none of that energy for LeBron James. Because I can make a legitimate argument, Stephen A. Smith, that LeBron James is the worst superstar in any sport, in history, easily. And we're going to talk about this video, man, because once again, Stephen A. Smith's a clown. I have no respect for Stephen A. Smith and his basketball acumen or anything he has to talk about in relation to this basketball stuff. LeBron James, Michael Jordan, and now you want to talk about Kawhi Leonard. You can make an argument, the worst superstar in any sport. Okay, I'm not a fan of Kawhi Leonard either. But once again, you won't keep that same energy for LeBron James, and we're going to talk about this video, guys. And I want to thank you guys, everyone across the world, everyone across the states, man, that's been supporting my channel. Once again, guys, I am truly, truly humbled by all support, man. It means a lot, guys. So shout out to everybody in the membership. Like I said, anyone who donates to my channel, like I said, much respect to you guys, man. Once again. And you guys know what to do, man. Turn the volume all the way up. Hit that play button. Remember, these videos are for educational purposes. And let's roll. So, yes, guys, like I said, man, I wanted to talk about this clown, Stephen A. Smith, for a little bit here and the comments that he made about Kawhi Leonard possibly being the worst superstar in NBA's history. Now, on this channel, you guys know I'm not a Kawhi Leonard fan, right? Kawhi Leonard rubs me the wrong way. I think he's soft. I think he's frail. I think he has no heart, no grit. That's my problem with Kawhi Leonard. I think there's a lot of times that he could have played, but he refuses to push through any kind of discomfort and pain, man. Sometimes you got to play with pain. Sometimes you got to push through these pains. That's what you have to do as a professional athlete. All these guys are not injury-free or pain-free. You think the guys I grew up watching back in the day never had any pain, never dealt with injuries or ailments? No. They dug deep, though, and they pushed through these things because they had to earn their money and earn their spot, earn their respect from the people. You gotta earn it out there, man. So that's one of my biggest problems with Kawhi Leonard. He ain't got no grit, really. To me, it seems like Kawhi Leonard is a diva-ish type guy ever since that injury with Zaza Pachulia in the 2017 Western Conference Finals. But before that injury, Kawhi Leonard was legit. He was a legit two-way stalwart. That's what he did. He gave way more effort on the defensive end than LeBron James ever has. Ever has. Even LeBron James at his best on defense was still nowhere close to Kawhi Leonard at his best on defense. This was Kawhi Leonard, guys. Like I said, an excellent two-way play, an elite two-way player. Like I said, had the mid-range game, right? Didn't have the athleticism of a LeBron James or a Michael Jordan, but he had a Michael Jordan type game in the mid-range, right? The turnaround pull-up jumpers, right? He didn't need a bunch of dribbling to get his shot off. And like I said, he was efficient, man. He didn't take a lot of bad shots. He didn't force up a lot of shots, Kawhi Leonard. And like I said, on the defensive end, he gave that effort. So Kawhi Leonard was an excellent player. Anytime that I've talked about Kawhi on his channel, it's never been about his overall skills. It's been about his lack of playing, his lack of want-to, in my opinion. Like I said, the lack of heart and grit from Kawhi Leonard. And once again, he became a diva after that injury. You know, the whole problem with San Antonio, that was a mess. And then even when he went to Toronto, and then he left Toronto, and now you're on the Clippers, and they've done nothing there. Nothing in LA. He's missing all these games, and once again, he's out. And then, like, you know, some of you guys have said, maybe it's time for Kawhi Leonard to hang it up. But Stephen A. Smith has made some comments about Kawhi Leonard, saying that he can make a legitimate argument that Kawhi Leonard is the worst superstar in the history of any sport, not just basketball, but any sport. And I would love for him to elaborate on what he's talking about, what he means by this. I'm sure it has to do with Kawhi Leonard, once again, missing more games, being out for the beginning of this season, and the amount of money that Kawhi Leonard has got, in his career, asking for max money, signing all these contracts, but really never going out there on the court and producing anything. Nothing tangible. Really never doing anything for the LA Clippers organization. And like I said, you know, the mindset or the way that Kawhi Leonard comes off, once again, like I said, as a diva. And I know he's dealing with an injury that's been nagging and, it's a degenerative injury and things of that nature. But once again, it's a mindset for me with these guys. It's the mindset for me that I do not respect with a lot of these guys. And Kawhi Leonard's making commercials and he's doing all these ads and stuff like that, but he ain't doing nothing on the court. So you got all this energy for all this other stuff, but you're not on the court. And his nickname is not apropos. They call him the cyborg. Cyborgs don't load manage. Cyborgs don't get worried about these little nagging injuries. Cyborgs are not divas. Cyborgs have no emotion. They have no feeling. They don't worry about pain. They just go. That's not Kawhi Leonard. He ain't pushing through nothing. This dude's taking breaks for mental rest. But when we talk about making an argument for someone being the worst player, the worst athlete of a sport, and Stephen A. Smith wants to bring up Kawhi Leonard, and you're really only bringing up Kawhi Leonard because of the injuries. If Kawhi Leonard never had this knee injury from Zaza Pachulia, let's say it never happened, the guy that Kawhi Leonard was a legit player, was a legit guy, man. He gave way more effort than LeBron James, like I just mentioned, on both sides of the ball, man. He was a better leader than LeBron James. No, he wasn't a rah-rah, get-in-your-face type of guy, but he led by example. So he gave the effort on the defensive end, and he was excellent on the offensive end. And like I said, he was there. So he led by example. LeBron James don't lead by example. LeBron James wants you to do what he says, but not as he does. So he won't give the effort on defense, but then he tells his teammates to do their jobs. And LeBron James has been like this. This hasn't been over the last couple of years. LeBron James has been like this for a long time, guys. A long time. He's never been a leader. Never been a leader. He's never had any leadership qualities, LeBron James. So I can easily make an argument that LeBron James is the worst superstar in the history of any sport. Because LeBron James was supposed to be the face of the league, not Kawhi Leonard. LeBron James was supposed to be the face of the league. And what has he done to the NBA? He's tore it down. Not Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard is not the problem with the NBA. It's LeBron James. Because LeBron James is supposed to be the leader. He's supposed to be the face of the league, not Kawhi Leonard. So more responsibility falls on LeBron James. So when LeBron James is flopping around the way he does, that hurts the league. That hurts the game. That's bad for LeBron James. You're supposed to be better than that. This is the same LeBron James that brags about the time he spent on his body. All the effort and energy, the money, doing all these workouts. He's the one flexing, not Kawhi Leonard. But then you load manage, but then you flop around the court. So I can easily make an argument that he's the worst superstar. LeBron James has been called the chosen one, not Kawhi Leonard. Kawhi Leonard was acquired by the Spurs on a draft day trade with the Indiana Pacers. No one even knew who this guy was. The Spurs did. No one else knew who he was. You think the Indiana Pacers knew what Kawhi Leonard was going to be or might have been? They would have traded him? He had developed a couple years, Kawhi Leonard, but they saw the potential was there. LeBron James came hyped up out of high school. They were broadcasting his games, pumping him up as the chosen one from day one. He has not lived up to that standard. Because once again, LeBron James has not carried himself as a professional. It ain't got nothing to do with the wins, the loss, and the finals. We're talking about LeBron James and how you carry yourself, how you represent the NBA as the face of the league, as the era's great. You're supposed to be the greatest player of your era. Generational talent. I've never heard anyone say that about Kawhi Leonard, but Stephen A. Smith wants to put all of that on Kawhi Leonard as if he's the one. He's the chosen one. He was the face of the league. He was the one being pumped up coming into the NBA. No one even knew about Kawhi Leonard. Is Kawhi Leonard a great player, man? He was a great player, but Kawhi Leonard is not going to be historically recognized like that because he had all the injuries. He missed a lot of games, Kawhi Leonard, man. From about 2015, 2014, and 2013, from around there, from about 2014 to about 2017, Kawhi Leonard, 3-4 years, dude was excellent. He was on his way to being a Michael Jordan-esque type player. A guy who could win while playing elite level defense and have a mid-range game. Be potent on both ends. No, he didn't have the leadership of a Michael Jordan. He didn't have that fiery personality of a Michael Jordan. Kawhi Leonard is more reserved, hence the cyborg nickname. But he don't have the drive like Michael Jordan. And once again, he didn't have the grit, the toughness, the heart of a Michael Jordan or a lot of the other guys, a lot of the other great players. So that's the problem for Kawhi Leonard. But physically is the problem for Kawhi Leonard. LeBron James has been mentally. He don't have none of the intangibles. Remember, it was Kawhi Leonard that LeBron James made that face when Kawhi Leonard checked back into the game. You guys remember that? This is what Kawhi Leonard did to LeBron James. That's how much of none of a competitor that LeBron James is. He actually made a face because Kawhi Leonard was checking back into the game. And why did he make that face? Because Kawhi Leonard was all over LeBron James, hounding him, harassing him, making him earn it. LeBron James don't want to earn it. He wants everything to be easy. When Michael Jordan was out there getting beat physically, having to earn it against some of the greatest defenders of all time, going against a Moncrief, right? Going against a Joe Dumars, a Dennis Rodman, a Dennis Johnson. He's going against these guys at a young age, trying to develop and learn how to win, lead his team. Kawhi Leonard, once again, guys, won an MVP, a Finals MVP, beating LeBron James' team, guarding LeBron James. 2014 NBA Finals. The Miami Heat, LeBron James lost to Kawhi Leonard and the San Antonio Spurs. 4-1 in a record route, record fashion, record margin. LeBron James on that team. Kawhi Leonard was on the Spurs. Kawhi Leonard had won nothing up until that point. No Defensive Player of the Year awards, no All-Star teams, no All-NBA selections, none of this stuff. And what was he, 22 years old? And he was dogging out peak LeBron James. In consecutive finals, LeBron James didn't want none of this stuff. You're making faces when Kawhi Leonard checks in? But Stephen A. Smith can say, I can make a legitimate argument for Kawhi Leonard being the worst superstar in any sport. I can make a better argument, a more compelling argument, a more sound argument for LeBron James being the worst superstar in any sport. Because once again, you're not holding LeBron James to that same standard, Stephen A. Smith. You're trying to put Kawhi Leonard up in a level and put him up in a realm that he's never been in. Kawhi Leonard was never the face of the league like that. He was never the guy that was supposed to carry the NBA. He was never the chosen one coming out of college or high school. They were never pumping him up as a top 5, a top 3 player of all time. No one's ever calling Kawhi Leonard the greatest of all time. Kawhi Leonard's not even calling himself the greatest of all time. So, Stephen A. Smith, you're not going to say anything about LeBron James always calling himself the greatest of all time? What is that doing for the integrity of the game? What is that doing for the history of the game? Is that honoring the game? No, it's not. For LeBron James to keep calling himself the greatest of all time is disrespectful to the other greats that played before him. But Stephen A. Smith won't say that LeBron James is the worst superstar in NBA's history. He won't say that, even though he's always pumping himself up, even though he walks off the court early. So how many times Kawhi Leonard walk off the court early? Someone pull the video up. How many times has he done it? I guarantee he didn't do it more than LeBron James. How many times has Kawhi Leonard flopped around the court? Nah, it's like LeBron James. Kawhi Leonard misses games more often than not, most of the time with legit injuries. Sometimes, I told you, I think he could get out there and play and he won't push through it. But more often than not, Kawhi Leonard has had legitimate injuries, and we get it. His body is breaking down. That's never been LeBron James. LeBron James has been blessed with the durability to a degree where he hasn't had a significant injury. He's had little nicks and bruises and things of that nature, but he never had a broken foot or a torn knee or any of these kinds of things. Nothing. But yet and still, LeBron James will load manage. He will just load manage. Kawhi Leonard misses games because his body's all jacked up. He's all jacked up. But he was out there giving the effort when he was able to, on both sides, more consistently than LeBron James ever has. But Kawhi Leonard don't walk off the court early. He don't point the finger at his teammates, Kawhi Leonard. And I'm sure Kawhi Leonard could basically blame his teammates a lot of times. He could have pointed the finger at James Harden or pointed the finger at Russell Westbrook or Paul George. But Kawhi Leonard don't do those things because, once again, Kawhi Leonard is self-aware, I'm sure, that he really can't point the finger, especially over the last several years, because he himself has been in and out of the lineup. But Kawhi Leonard has not been known for being a guy that makes excuses, to come to a post-game press conference and wear a cast, or make excuses, or blame this or blame that. So once again, that's LeBron James being exposed as really not that great of a superstar when you're always making excuses. How great are you? You're always calling yourself the greatest of all time. You're always blaming your teammates. How many coaches have been fired with Kawhi Leonard on the team? How many coaches were fired with Kawhi Leonard on the team? LeBron James has been through many, many coaches. Many coaches. Now, Kawhi Leonard, once again, it's not Kawhi Leonard who's bragging about all the time he spends on his body, the money, and all these things he does in the offseason and then misses games. It's LeBron James who brags about the money and the time that he spends on his body and how strong he is. He's the one flexing, but then he's also the same guy missing games. Right? It's LeBron James walking around the court, not getting back on defense. That wasn't Kawhi Leonard. But Stephen A. wants you to believe that Kawhi Leonard is the worst superstar in NBA's history. Once again, not keeping the same standard for LeBron James. LeBron James is supposed to be held to a higher standard than Kawhi Leonard. A higher standard than Kawhi Leonard. Stephen A. Smith said that LeBron James is a second greatest player of all time. That shows you right there that Stephen A. Smith is not living in reality. And he's not holding LeBron James to the same standard that he's trying to hold Kawhi Leonard to. Because all this is based off of Kawhi Leonard not playing health-wise. Okay, we get that. Look, Kawhi Leonard has missed a lot of games, man. He's missed a lot of games, which is why I'll never rank him with the other greats. Like, I'm not going to rank Kawhi Leonard as a great small forward. Or like I said, with the great players, because he hasn't played enough. He had some really good years, and he did some really good things on the court. And like I said, from like 2014 to 2017, Kawhi Leonard was sensational, man. He was great. And he looked like he was going to be the next greatest player of the league. It just didn't work out that way due to the injuries and a dirty play nonetheless. But Stephen A. Smith won't talk about that. He won't hold LeBron James to a higher standard. They continue to lower the standard for LeBron James and hold guys like Kawhi Leonard to a higher standard. So Kawhi Leonard's the worst superstar in NBA's history because he gets all this money and he's been not playing any games. I get that. But LeBron James is literally doing a similar thing. He's asking for max money, all this stuff, and don't play any defense. Don't give any effort on the defensive end. He's not a true leader. He's not a true competitor. He walks off the court early. He gets coaches fired. He's always blaming his teammates. But Stephen A. Smith won't say he's the worst superstar in NBA's history. Stephen A. Smith, the same guy that talks about LeBron James, a great husband and father, when he's clearly not a great one. Doesn't mean you're a bad one. You're just not great. Once again, there are levels to this. Not everyone's a great father. But Stephen A. Smith says that LeBron James is a great husband and father. When he's not. When he has no evidence to support this. He's just saying it to promote LeBron James. And once again, he'll say, oh my God, I have LeBron James as the second greatest player of all time. Oh, forgive me. He's not the second greatest player of all time. Once again, you're not holding LeBron James to the same standard as Stephen A. Smith. And we've talked about this. But for him to say that Kawhi Leonard is the worst superstar, or he can make a legitimate argument for Kawhi Leonard being the worst superstar in NBA's history or any sport, I laugh because, once again, I can make a more compelling argument for LeBron James being the worst superstar in the history of any sport, especially when you talk about the level of, like I said, appreciation that this guy had coming in, or excuse me, the level of hype that he had coming in, that Kawhi Leonard never had. Never had. So, once again, you should be holding LeBron James to a higher standard, more expectations. He promotes himself as the greatest of all time. Not Kawhi Leonard. He flexes on guys that are 6'3" when he dunks on them. Not Kawhi Leonard. LeBron James don't play no defense. None. That's not Kawhi Leonard. But then LeBron James tells his teammates to do their jobs. He says we have to get back our asses back on D when he's never getting back on D. The dude's a joke, but Stephen A. Smith won't call it out. LeBron James does all these things off the court, behind the scenes, fake reading books. Like I said, making excuses in post-game press conferences, talking down to the common folks. That was never Kawhi Leonard. LeBron James always got something to say, but he won't answer the other allegations. He got something to say about everything in the world except the things that really matter. The things that he should be speaking on, he won't speak on. The guy welcomes home a criminal from jail, right? Like I said, the guy won't speak about the Diddy stuff, and then you have his fans talking about it's not a social justice issue. Listen, man, domestic violence is a social issue, all right? Domestic violence in this country, in this world, is a problem. All right? And what P. Diddy was doing, that clown was doing with that girl on camera, and LeBron James got nothing to say about it, he still supports these guys. Your silence shows you're supporting them. That's what that means. Especially when in the past you promoted P. Diddy. You promoted him. It ain't like you never talked about him before. You've actually promoted him before. So now you must speak. You put yourself out there. You want to be labeled an activist? You want to be labeled as someone that stands up for the people? Then you must speak up on the domestic violence. You want to be called a great husband? Is that something a great husband would back? Would you back someone beating another woman like that? Is that what a man would back up? No, he wouldn't. But he won't talk about P. Diddy. He won't confront the Chael Sonnen accusations, but he has something to say. I saw LeBron James tweet some weeks ago, a tweet out. He said he went to Abu Dhabi. You guys remember the Nuggets, I believe they played a game in Abu Dhabi in the preseason. And during the game, the broadcast, the announcer actually said that Russell Westbrook was a scapegoat for LeBron James. He said on the broadcast booth, shout out to that guy. He said Russell Westbrook was a scapegoat for LeBron James last season or when he was in LA. And LeBron James tweeted about that. This guy has something to say about everything but Chael Sonnen, but P. Diddy. But they want to say he's an activist, great husband and father. His son almost dies, doesn't retire, Stephen A. Smith, but you keep calling him a great father. He's a mediocre father at best. He ain't great. He's not great. And Stephen A. Smith don't know what being a great father because Stephen A. Smith has no kids. What does Stephen A. Smith know about being a father? He has no children. Is Stephen A. Smith even married? What does he know about being a husband? You don't know a damn thing about being a husband or a father, Stephen A. Smith. You don't know nothing about this. So once again, Stephen Smith, spare us your stuff, man, and your commentary. I can make an argument for Kawhi Leonard being the worst superstar in any sport. I just made an argument for LeBron James being the worst superstar across sports. He's a dirtbag narcissist that don't play with any love of the game, don't respect the fans, asks for max money while not giving the max effort, gets teammates traded, takes no accountability. Coaches fired, fans ejected from the stands. Load manages, flops around, talks down to the common folk. Damn LeBron James and his punk fans. And damn Stephen A. Smith. He's nobody. He don't know what he's talking about. Don't know respect Stephen A. Smith and what he has to say. Dude's a goof, man. And remember, guys, I do not like Kawhi Leonard either, man. All right, I understand. Kawhi Leonard, I've given him the biz on his channel. But to say you can make an argument for Kawhi Leonard being the worst superstar in history of any sport, and you're going to say LeBron James is number 2 all time, and you won't hold LeBron James to that same standard, you get exposed, man. Because LeBron James has done way worse things than Kawhi Leonard not playing games because of these injuries that he may or may not have, the money that he's received, and the little games that he's played. LeBron James has damaged the NBA, not Kawhi Leonard. It's LeBron James, who's out there load managing, flopping around, making excuses, crying to the referees up and down the court. This guy's an embarrassment, man. An embarrassment. That's not Kawhi Leonard. LeBron James will get tapped. You'll see a replay. He barely gets scraped. And the man goes and starts rolling around the floor, or he goes and leans up against a scorer's table. He starts rubbing on his head or rubbing on his arm. The game gets stopped for minutes because of this guy. Like I said, always got something to say, but he won't say anything about the things that are important. Promotes himself as an activist and all these things. But at the same time, LeBron James is a dirtbag because LeBron James wants the attention for what he does. LeBron James does not do these things because it makes him feel good or out of the kindness of his heart. He does this because he wants the attention from it. If there was no attention or publicity from a lot of this stuff, LeBron James wouldn't do it because no one would know he's doing it. LeBron James the kind of guy where if you go to you guys go to a restaurant or something, you go somewhere and they have a tip jar on the counter. LeBron James the kind of guy where he needs the people to see him put the tip in the jar. He can't just put the tip in the jar and have no one see it and just have that sense that you know what you did. You know you gave a tip. He needs them to see it. Right? Like that episode from Seinfeld with George Costanza. He kept putting the tip in the jar and the guy kept turning his back. Every time he did it, the guy never saw him put a tip in. So he thought that the guy was getting aggravated because he wasn't a tipper. But in your mind, you know what you did. You don't need anyone to validate what you're doing. You don't need any publicity or notoriety or any kind of, like I said, appreciation from someone or I said recognition that you did this. You're doing it because you wanted to do it. That's it. I don't know how many times I've left a tip in a cup or a jar that no one saw me do. I just left it. It's just part of what I did. I didn't need the recognition or someone to say thank you. I don't need that. This is what LeBron James does. That's a dirtbag mentality, man. You guys know the deal, man. I'll catch you guys on the next one.